Welcome back, guys, to Eat the Narrative. No, I will not change the quality of my thumbnails, but give me 20 seconds of your time to introduce this clip, and I will let it play absolutely uncut, in full, providing my thoughts and analysis at the very end. In today's video, MAGA darling Dr. Phil, I can't believe that's even a sentence, shares his thoughts on the immigration protests in LA. This should be very, very interesting, so let's get right into it.
Just give me an overview, Phil, about what is going on in Los Angeles and where your biggest sympathies lie.
Piers, it's good to talk to you again. And once again, I think the mainstream media, the legacy media, they're just ignoring the facts here. They're really wanting to inflame the situation. They're not wanting to inform people about what's really going on. And I'm really not sure what the objective is of the mob here. I listened to a lot of the speakers on microphones last night, yesterday, really since this all started, and they're demanding the release of the people that were arrested. Surely they can't expect that to happen. I mean, what would happen if the federal government just said, hey, okay, all right, you guys are upset, so we're going to open the jail and turn all of these people that were arrested, lawfully arrested, we're just going to turn them loose. And among those they would be turning loose are drug traffickers, those that are accused of domestic violence, one with a indictment for second-degree murder, a 55-year-old illegal alien from the Philippines convicted of burglary, sexual penetration with a foreign object, assault with intent to commit rape, a Mexican national with a rap sheet that includes shooting up a house and a vehicle with people in them, willful cruelty to a child, driving under the influence, an illegal alien from Vietnam with a criminal history that includes conviction for second-degree murder as well. So I'm not sure what they're expecting to happen here. Surrender? To just say, hey, we give up, we surrender. You guys don't like the laws that your elected officials passed, so we'll turn everybody loose. This is a ridiculous position.
It seems to me, looking from afar, I'm in the UK at the moment, that and I've got a house in LA, as you know, and spend a lot of time there. It just seems to me that Trump is doing exactly what he said he'd do. He said, I'm going to do mass deportations of people in the country illegally, and he was focusing in the campaign on criminals. So people who committed crimes who in the country illegally. And I think most Americans I've spoken to have absolutely no problem with people who are in America illegally in the first place, who are then committing crimes and are caught committing crimes, of those people being thrown out of the country. There's unanimity about that. It gets more complicated. I mean, Gavin Newsom talked there about a 4-year-old girl, and that's one of the stories you get, where you get people who, by association, perhaps to illegal people who commit crimes, they get thrown out too, or they're there illegally, but they haven't committed crimes while they've been in the United States, and they built, maybe as Newsom said, a 10-year life, and they've paid taxes and so on. And then you have the dreamers, obviously, who were born in the United States to illegal immigrants and so on. It's complicated, this. What is your view generally about who should stay and who should go?
Well, listen, it really, I listened to Gavin Newsom speak about that, and I have several thoughts about what he had to say. First off, I don't care how he feels. I barely care how I feel about this. It's not a matter of opinion. We are a country of laws, and laws are not suggestions. They're not guidelines. They're not optional. They're not Monday, Wednesday, Friday, one week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, the next week. These are laws, and they were passed by Congress. And the people in Congress were elected by those people in Los Angeles. They have representatives in Congress that pass these laws. And once those laws are passed, are they not to be enforced universally across the board? They're not they're not optional, and the people they're attacking had nothing to do with it. These ICE agents, do you think anybody asked a single ICE agent, what's your opinion of the law? They're hurling rocks at the heads of these ICE agents. And so they're going after them. They had nothing to do with this.
But again, Phil, what I would say to that, just to jump in, what I would say to that is, I've watched those scenes and they're utterly horrific. And the people doing that, they're trying to kill people, right? So I would absolutely charge them with attempted murder. You throw a rock at a passing car and smash the windows, you're trying to kill that person, in my estimation. I don't think anyone's got any problem with people doing that. If they're there illegally, then throw them out of the country. But what about the people who are not criminals, whose only crime, and it is a crime because if you enter the country illegally, you have entered the country illegally, you've broken the law. But do you think it's enough if that is your only crime, i.e. you're there illegally to start with, if you built a life, you have a family and so on, is that enough to be seized off the streets by ICE and deported, in your opinion?
Hey, you there. If you guys like this video, please consider subscribing, dropping a like, and maybe commenting. This really boosts the video in the YouTube algorithm, and we would like to spread this message to as many people as possible. Let's get back to the video.
In my opinion, that's the law. And listen, Thomas Sowell was speaking, someone that I admire greatly was speaking about this just a few days ago. I listened to him talk about this, and he said it very well. He said, nobody questions the humanity of most of the people that have crossed the border, even illegally, that there are some good people there, some family people there. The Hispanic population is, by and large, their culture is very family oriented. So no one is questioning the humanity of those people, even if they cross the border, but that doesn't make them immune from the law. If you are here illegally, Tom Homan has said it very clearly. There's an app that you can go to that says, look, self-deport, take yourself out of the country if you're here illegally. If you register there, they give you time to get your affairs in order here. They give you a plane ticket to fly you back to where you came from when you entered the country illegally. They even give you $1,000 when you get on the ground back where you came from to help you get your feet under you there. But if you stay here and you are arrested, they have to find you, arrest you, process you, and send you out. You face bars. It can be 5 years, it can be 20 years, it can be forever to come back into this country if they have to find you, arrest you, process you, and deport you. So the whole reason of being so transparent about this process is to let people know if you're here illegally, you need to take measures to remove yourself so you can then file for a visa and come back in here legally. So I think if you're here illegally, you're here illegally. Now, if you don't like that policy, if you don't like that law, then change it. These people shouldn't be protesting on the highways in South LA. They should be going to the Capitol in DC and protesting to the legislature to change the immigration laws.
But there are estimates that the number of illegal immigrants in the United States, a country, of course, founded on immigration, that there could be as many as 30, 50, maybe 80 million people in the country illegally. No one's really quite sure, but it's tens of millions, whichever figure you want to buy into. Would you be happy, Phil, given that a lot of those people have settled in the United States for many years, had kids maybe in the United States, got a job, paid taxes, contributed to society, maybe doing a lot of menial work that is very important to keeping America running? Would you be happy if literally all of them were deported as a matter of principle?
I think we would be in a serious crisis if everyone left this country. And I think we need to address that. I think we need to address that in the legislature. I mean, clearly, this is a country of immigrants, some legal, some illegal. And if we have dysfunctional immigration laws, then we need to call an immediate session of Congress, address this, and find a way to get visas for these people, work visas, whatever kind of visas, or get the immigration courts unstopped They're stopped up right now. Get that blockage out of the way so you can actually process people. But the reason they're stopped up for 7, 8, 9 more years is because all the people that have filed for asylum when they didn't have a good case for asylum. And when they get there and it's denied in the vast majority of cases, then they're given an order to leave and they don't. So they overstay, but they clog the courts up. So people that have legitimate reasons don't ever get a chance to have their day in court. I don't think our immigration laws are functional, but those are the laws right now, Piers. And what do? These laws aren't optional. They're not suggestions. How do you decide that you're going to enforce it for this person, but not that person?
Well, I think that's the big question, isn't it? I mean, I that's why I think, funny enough, if Donald Trump, through his team, including Tom Homan, I think he's a very impressive operator, actually. But if they had made it clear that the first raft of deportations were going to be exclusively restricted to people who were in the country illegally who had committed crimes, I think they would have had universal support from everybody. I think it's the fact that so many are being deported at such a rate that inevitably certain people are falling through the cracks here who have not committed any crimes, who may have built a life for themselves in the US, living the American dream in many ways, right? Albeit coming in illegally. I think people feel more uncomfortable about people like that being deported than they would if they were actually people committing crimes.
Well, let me tell you what's happened here, because I've been fairly close to this, as you know, and they had 3 primary objectives. One was to close the border, and I think that's been effectively done.
Yes.
I mean, the illegal crossings.
Amazingly successful, yeah. And Trump isn't getting nearly enough credit for that.
And number 2 was the worst first. Let's get the violent criminals out of here. The TDA, Trinidad, let's get them out of here. MS-13, let's get the gang members, those that are, and typically they start out by victimizing their countrymen. That's where they go first because they've got the bluff in on them. And so they start victimizing their own countrymen. And then third is find the missing children. There are a minimum of 300,000 missing children. Now, some of them have found their way to family and they're safe, but an unsettling number are being sex trafficked or they're into forced labor, and they need to be found, helped, given services, medical, psychological, sociological, and reunited with their families. So those are the 3 prime directives. But here's what's happening. In sanctuary cities where they refuse to cooperate with ICE, where one agent can go in and arrest one detainee that's in jail, they instead have to do a complete operation to arrest this person on the streets. And when they go in, say, to an apartment where maybe there are 8 or 10 people living, they're going to check who they're with. And if those people are simply here illegally but haven't committed a crime, they're not going to say, oh, well, we'll overlook that. You're here illegally. By law, they have to detain them and take them in for deportation.
I don't usually side with Piers Morgan, as shown by many videos on my channel, but in this case, he came off as the more grounded of the two. Dr. Phil took the opportunity to grandstand about being a nation of laws and the importance of enforcement. But here's the contradiction. He and Piers both support a former president who was found guilty of numerous felonies and who incited a violent insurrection. The same president who has only put more fuel on the flames by, also unconstitutionally, deploying the National Guard in California in the immigration protests against the counsel of Governor Gavin Newsom. According to the Constitution, January 6 should have disqualified Trump from ever running again. But when the Supreme Court sidestepped that clause, suddenly that law became a suggestion. Dr. Phil didn't seem too concerned then. His outrage only appears selective, reserved only for people he politically disagrees with. We constantly hear these conservative talking heads preaching about the rule of law, but their critique never seems to extend to the wealthy employers who exploit undocumented labor. Where is Dr. Phil's condemnation of business owners who knowingly hire immigrants without papers to save money? Where is the outrage when undocumented workers are deported without due process, even sent to dangerous conditions abroad? Dr. Phil says nothing. He rails against the symptoms, but ignores the systems and the enablers, many of whom, like Trump, are his ideological allies. If he truly believed in equal enforcement of the law, he'd demand that the powerful face consequences too. Dr. Phil also leans into classic fear-mongering, referencing violent criminals and gangs as justification for aggressive immigration enforcement. You know, the bold-faced lie that Trump and the MAGA party have been parading around for years now. But if these individuals were truly as dangerous as he claims, where are the violent standoffs with ICE during deportation arrests? The narrative doesn't match reality because they're snatching students from classrooms and hardworking farmers from fields, not violent criminals. He then makes the tired argument that we can't pick and choose which laws to enforce, and yet we do exactly that every day. How many people speed? How many people jaywalk? How many people do little things every day that they deem not important? And somehow, it's never the white-collar employers who face consequences, just the desperate migrants trying to survive. If Dr. Phil really wanted to fix the system, he'd start by demanding the accountability from the top down. But instead, he panders to a base that thrives on fear and ignores the deeper injustices. The hypocrisy cannot be any more present here. Let me know what you guys think. Personally, I found myself agreeing more with what Piers Morgan said than I ever expected. As for Dr. Phil, his commentary reveals more about his political bias than any genuine concern for law and order. Do you think he's making valid points, or do you, like me, see through the hypocrisy? It's a complex issue, but the solution certainly won't come from grandstanding and selective outrage. That's a wrap from Eat the Narrative, where truth isn't polished, it's weaponized. If you guys enjoyed this content, please leave a like, drop a comment, and consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.